Hello and welcome to this video where I'm going to very briefly explain how you can work and use my tool Transform Match. So what I have here in the screen is a model from Substance 3D Assets, and I want to use this as an example of what happens when, for example, I need to replace all of these beams. They're low poly version, and I need to replace with a high poly version, for example, a megascans. Obviously, what I have here is just an example. This is a low poly, but just for the sake of demonstration. Now, one way that you can do that, or try to do that, is by using this tool, the Extract Transform. The idea is for you to provide the reference geometry, which should be something like this, and then in the second input, you're going to put the target geometry. Because I have multiple elements, what I'm doing is putting this tool inside a loop so we can go through every single one of these elements individually. Now, from the start, this tool is not going to work, and the reason why is because the reference and the target geometry, they need to have the same number of points. One way that you can try to solve this issue is by using an oriented bounding box. And this is going to create a box. It'll have 8 points, the same thing for your target geometry. So the tool now works, and you can see that here we are trying to extract the translation, rotation, and non-uniform scale. You have more options if you want to explore this. But then in a geometry spreadsheet, you can see that this point has information regarding the position, the orientation, and the scale. When you process all of these elements, you'll get something like this. And then the idea is for you just to use this with a copy to points. First instance, this seems to be working. Once you zoom in, you'll see that a lot of these elements are not going to be in the correct position and also with the correct scale. So this is something that happened to me when I was working in this project, the Ghost of Utah, and I was responsible as a 3D artist to do the interior of this house. The layout file that was provided had more than 1,000 objects, so as you can imagine, having to go and manually replace these with megascan assets and with high poly assets, it would be very time consuming. And that's the reason why I jumped into Vex, and then I created this Transform Match. So this tool is going to do exactly this, but in a way that it works. As a good practice, it's always a good idea for your source geometry to be in the origin point. Match size will help with that. So that's what we're going to connect in the first input, and then in the second input, we're just going to connect our target geometry. The output is going to be very similar to what we have here. We're going to have points with position, and instead of having the orient and the pivot and the scale separate, we're going to have a matrix 3 with all that information called transform. This is something we can directly connect to the copy to points, and there you go. So you can see we have the correct orientation, position, and uniform scale. And obviously in some places like this we may need to make some adjustments, but you can see how we're able to just swap the geometry with basically whatever we want, right? Because if I want, I can go here, I can select a different geometry, go to the input 3, different geometry is working. Because it's with Vex, it's very fast in producing all of these points. So you can find more information about this tool on the description for this video, along with the link for my Gumroad and ArtStation store. Any questions you may have, feel free to drop a comment or reach directly to me, and I'll try my best to get back to you. Thanks for watching.